Hi, my name is Ariel Carmeli, and I make Ariel Carmeli custom cues. I started doing repair work at Best Billiards in Santa Ana in 1991. Probably about 6 months after that, we started attempting to build cues and had the first one finished around mid-92. The guy that owned Best Billiards was actually interested in seeing why the cues play differently, because everybody assumes it's a piece of wood up front, a handle, a piece of wood in the back, and a maple shaft. How can they all play so different? One of the guys that worked there with me a few years later had x-rays that confirmed what we thought, that there's many different ways to put a cue together, and he was interested in finding out how that happened. So he spent a considerable amount of money on some of the mid-level cue makers from back then, and we literally cut them apart to see how they were put together. You would think there's a lot of cue makers out there, but there's really not. There are some small guys who do repairs and occasionally make cues, but as far as people who make cues for a living, there's probably less than 200 of us. So 200 guys trying to supply even 1 million people, it's just not going to happen. So competition really isn't a problem.
This is the kind of Cocobolo we try and get. This is very hard to get because anybody who you call up and ask you to send Cocobolo to you, they're not going to send you this because they can put it up in their shop and get a premium for it. This is landscape Cocobolo. And there's another type of grain Cocobolo called crotch. This is usually down at the bottom of the tree by the roots, just above the ground, just below the ground. There is no straight grain here. It's all going sideways. And then we have got another really nice piece of fiddleback for the handle. If you look at the forearm, you can see it's just twisting.
And that's what you usually get.
This, if I could get all the time, I would. I can get closer to getting that more often. But this grain, Cocobolo is typically a vertical grain. So if you were to hold the cue like this, the grain should be going this way. This is all going sideways. This is typically what Cocobolo looks like. Mm-hmm. Which one would you rather own?
If you've never made it out to any of the bigger tournaments like the West Coast Swing, you should probably come out and check it out. Get to see some new pool cues, get to see the pros up close and personal. You're not in a bleacher somewhere 30 feet away from the action, you're 5 feet away from it. And you can actually talk to them. All any cue maker is going to have at the end of the day is the product you put out. All you got is the product you put out and your name is on it. So at the end of our lives, all we have is our name. And if you did a good enough job, people will remember your names for the right reason. And if you did a bad job, they'll remember it for the wrong reason. Doesn't matter how much money you have, how many toys you got. If you want people to remember you, which will be your legacy, do the job right. Because no one can ever take that away from you, living or dead.